So one of the things that you might want to do when you're gift wrapping is to add a bow. And there are lots of different styles of bows out there, and this is the one that I love to use on boxes, and it's a standard crossover bow. Now, one of the things I am going to say to you, and you might have a giggle to yourself, because you need to forget everything you ever learned about tying a shoelace. Because what happens when you tie a shoelace is you end up with a loop and a tail, a loop and a tail, and obviously that doesn't make for a very attractive bow. So you need to forget all of that, and I'm going to show you how you can quickly create this type of crossover bow. Now, one thing I want to point out to you as well is that it's flat on the bottom, and I'll show you a quick before and after, because I know the way that you might be considering approaching tying this bow. So I'm just going to undo this, and again, please note there is no knots. We are not tying a knot in this ribbon, because one of the other frustrating things on a birthday or a Christmas or any time where you're opening a gift is if you have to hack at it with a pair of scissors because you can't get the ribbon off. What I would always advise when you're tying this style of ribbon bow is to use the ribbon on the reel, as we did when we've measured and cut paper. We cut exactly how much we need, and it's very tempting with your ribbon to do exactly the same, is just grab your scissors and cut off how much you think you need, but I'm going to show you how much you really need. Now, you may be tempted to just grab your ribbon and go like this, cross it over, and then tie your bow on the front. You end up with a cross like that, which obviously we're not aiming for. So I'm going to take my ribbon, it's still on the reel here, and I'm going to keep my box in landscape so that it's facing me, and I'm going to create a loop and a tail. And how I do that is literally, if you think about those charity pins that you get, you create a loop and a tail that looks like one of the charity pins. So you need to have it sort of in the center of your gift, your tail on the left hand side of it, so it's on the left hand of my parcel, and then I have a loop as well. Then I'm going to just let go and let that go off to the left of my gift, and with my left hand I am just going to pick up my gift, and I've undone quite a bit that's on the reel, and I'm just going to run all the way round, bring the ribbon all the way back up to the top. Now it's in front of me, and I'm going to cross it over. So the short bit is going to come towards me, the long bit that's still on the reel is going to go away from me. And again, I'm going to pick up my gift, and I'm going to take this all the way down the bottom, over the top, and bring it back round to the front. Now, at this point, we know at the start we created a loop and a tail. So at this point, I know I can take my sharp scissors and cut off exactly the same length from my roll, and just pop that to one side. Now at this point, this is the bit I've just cut off my reel. I'm going to take that over the top, and I'm going to bring it back on itself so it's in the bottom right hand quadrant of my box, and I'm just going to take my left hand up. So what you end up with is a bit of a Union Jack effect, so that it looks like this. Don't worry about the bottom being nice and in position yet, because you'll be able to move it around once you've actually got your bow in place. So I'm going to use my left index finger just to hold everything in place. As you know, I'm not tying a knot at this point, and I'm using my left thumb to create a loop and a tail, and then I'm going to keep hold of it with my right hand. Now at this point, you might be thinking you want to go that way, which is what you would do if you were tying a shoelace. But what you actually need to do is go over the top. And what that does is creates a loop underneath where your right index finger is. And you're just going to force, using your left thumb, to create that second loop and pull it up. Don't worry about your loops not looking neat at this stage. You can always sort them out when you've finished. So we now have 2 loops at the top, 2 tails at the bottom. You can adjust them to look nice and neat. That's not quite the same size. There we go. If you're using wired ribbon, obviously they will stand up quite nicely. You've also got a nice neat bottom. One thing that you can do with this style of ribbon, because you've not attached it to anything, you can actually move it around on your gift. So I'm just going to move it to the left. So you can move it round so that it looks like that. You can actually move it to the top. So if you think about a box of chocolates that you might get, you might see with it looking like this. Now, what I would always suggest is you trim the edges with your sharp scissors so you have a nice, neat edge. And I like to just have them so they go to a point like that. And then you can adjust how it actually looks and make sure that the back is nice and flat as well. And that's our standard crossover bow. So we started off keeping the ribbon on the reel. We created a loop and a tail in the centre of our gift, and we followed the ribbon round, tied our bow, forgetting how we've tied a shoelace, and then we've positioned the bow exactly where we want it on our gift.